Welcome back, everyone. Craig and Jonah here today. What do you got, Jonah?
Well, the other night I heard my least favorite phrase, find something for us to watch. So we have, like all these different streaming services.
Is that because you don't like watching movies, or just because she makes you
I
pick it out?
I just hate picking it
Yeah.
out. Like there's so many options and half of them are crap,
Mhm.
you know. So I go to Netflix and I'm looking through the top 10 list for the day. And there's a movie called Subservient. And I thought
Does
I read this.
Is it Tim Gordon, the producer?
No, but it's along those lines.
Okay.
So I thought, well, we'll just watch this. It's in the top 10. The plot seemed fine, interesting enough because it's realistic. So this is realistic. So this guy and his wife, they have a passionate relationship. They have 2 kids, though, and they're little. And so you can relate to that.
Yep.
So they
Which part of it can I relate to?
all of it. So they, right after the second baby is born, like it still must be like 6 months old, the mom gets really sick. She has heart issues. She has to go to the hospital for a while. But this is somewhere in the near future where you can buy an AI robot to help around the house. And so they go to the AI robot store, the family does, the dad and the 2 kids. And, there's all kinds of options. There's a male version. There's like, I think there's all kinds of options, the grandma version or whatever. But the daughter really likes this attractive Megan Fox version. And so they, of course, get that version. She comes home with them. The AI robot is very helpful, does things around the house, is very open to listening to the husband and helping him with his problems. And predictably, the robot can sense there's some tension building up, so wife isn't around.
Uh-oh.
And so
gotta have the filter settings right.
It wasn't terribly graphic, but right in the middle of this passionate scene, my wife turns to me and she goes, "You picked the stupidest movie." So then I was like, all right. But I was like, I could see this happening, because this robot is there to, like, the mantra of this robot is that it's there to fulfill all of his like needs essentially. And I don't think she cared for that, motto, maybe. I'm not sure, but she seemed irritated by the movie. And I don't know, that stuff is coming in the future where some people will choose a robot, I think, over all the problems that come with another human.
Well, and if you're a family that has a robot, that probably takes you off the list of grave cause to use NFP. So if you cannot possibly have grave reason to use NFP if you've got a AI robot in the house.
And then I was thinking too, like, since I didn't see the whole movie, so I can't recommend it totally, but it's interesting to think about. Does having a robot in your house, and if you have sex with that, does that count as cheating? I'm not sure, because women use devices, and I don't think they count that as cheating.
I'm pretty sure the Pope isn't going to let us use those.
If one looks like Megan Fox, well, I'm not saying within Catholic rules. I'm just saying in general, because it's kind of as far as what society would think of that.
Yeah, well,
not the Catholic Church, society at large.
I mean, you already have the sex dolls and all that kind of stuff, so that seems. I mean, it seems like.
I mean, but I think most wives would be bothered if their husband had a sex doll, but they can have vibrators. We're getting kind of off the path here. But.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'd use my words carefully here. I could say with confidence that most wives would not be okay with that.
Yep, I feel the same way, but I'm just saying.
I'm not going to say anything further about whether they should or shouldn't be, but I think it's fair to assume they're not going to be okay with that.
So then I was also thinking, would I want that? Like, just when you think about the trials and tribulations that come with marriage, and if you would have this other, sort of being, it's AI, and it's capable of complex thought and conversation, would you ever want to live with something like that? And so I was thinking back to my dating days when there were girls that I dated that definitely were more on the adoring side, and I didn't really like that. So I'm not sure. Looking back, that was stupid. But I'm just saying, like, I didn't really like that either. So I don't know. I think maybe marriage is meant to be complex.
You are not allowed to get into the time machine we build it, because you're going to go back and just change a lot of stuff. Totally change the
trajectory of all mankind.
Yeah.
But
well, this is maybe a good segue to what I was thinking about. Our life, our intimate life, continues to be ruled by an unruly 2-year-old.
So you think we're going on like the hunger strike again for a while?
No.
Or the intimacy strike?
That's worse.
I thought you like gained all these powers and stuff. Like you were master of your domain. You were king of the castle.
I mean, there are benefits to it. Don't get me wrong. And in the Discord, as one of our, I think it was Jonah 2.0 was like, oh, I thought you said it was all great. Well, like, there are benefits to it, right? Like, I'm not saying, but on net, it still isn't as good.
Yeah.
As having some intimacy, even if it is never as frequent as I would like. But there's this definite misconception promulgated by celibates and even non-celibate NFP cheerleaders that it's like there's this little switch that goes on in the house. Like, well, it's the infertile time. Go ahead and make hay while while the sun shines.
The way God intended.
Yeah, but like sometimes you can't get to the field. And the biggest thing
nobody likes plowing by themselves.
Yeah. It's nice to have a team.
Yeah, it is nice, yeah.
But just like last night, so like, it's been 5 days now, which
I thought you went 22 or whatever. I'm just kidding before, so it should be no problem.
Yeah, well, again,
it does kickstart the whole engine again.
It is different. Yeah, you're back on the hamster wheel again, which is the biggest drawback to it. Like, it's the biggest frustration about it is you got to start back at the beginning, and the first 5 to 10 days is the worst.
Mm-hmm.
But our 2-year-old is just I mean, our kids,
all the birth control you need, really,
and then some. Like, he wants to bring some of the other ones back. There's no return policy, apparently. You're kind of stuck with them.
No.
So she just goes bonkers from about 9 o'clock at night until 11:30 at night. And there's no calming her down. She's like climbing up the back of the chair. One of us literally has to sit at the bottom of the stairs and guard her. Otherwise, she'll take off upstairs. She'll climb up on the top bunk where one of our sons, and they bounce up and down.
While
Wake him up. She'll fall out. I mean, every single night it's like this. And I'm sure there's people out there, oh, you're just bad parents. Maybe.
No,
you don't reason with 2-year-olds.
When you were at our house, she is definitely energetic, and she will go do things that I've never seen any child do.
It's like that all the time, right? All the time. All of our kids have been like that to some degree for the most part. But she is just like the most distilled version yet.
She's part squirrel.
It is. It's like trying to wrestle a squirrel all the time. So if there was an AI robot that could take her for a couple hours and whatever, fine. Yeah, I'm all for that. And maybe get like a kangaroo version. It kind of stuffs her in a pouch and walks her around.
So the AI actually, the robot did do things like that. Like in the movie, the girl was trying to get a cookie off the cookie jar, which is way up on the shelf, and she fell, but the robot caught her. You know?
That would be
Megan
super
Fox.
handy.
The
Yeah, if you
Megan
could
Fox
have,
robot.
I mean, if Megan Fox could come in and just follow the 2-year-old around all the time and take her for an hour or so a day.
How much would you pay for that?
Here's a blank check. You fill in the zeros. Can't guarantee it's going to be good,
So,
but you could take it all.
If you had to choose between the grandma option and the Megan Fox option, which one are you going with?
Oh, but they're both robots?
Yeah.
Grandmas?
Safer. You go with a guy, too.
Grandmas are kind of...
Well, it's true. There might be... I don't know if there's different settings where maybe the grandma's giving you more advice.
Talking politics and stuff like that. That wouldn't be great. Starts telling her what a bad, how we used to raise kids and stuff like that. So I don't know that a grandmother version is the best.
So you're thinking Megan Fox?
I think so.
Yeah, it'd be the smart move, I think.
Yeah.
Your wife would approve, I'm sure.
Maybe she could pick out a different version. I don't care, but
I don't know, but your wife thought that maybe polygamy would be okay at one point, right? Like she was more open to that than. What was the
forced to choose between that and the marital debt?
Yeah,
she chose that.
Okay, well, sometimes you got to be careful what you say.
Yeah. Yeah. I immediately regretted that one. So, but yeah, I mean, if you had a neighbor, I mean,
yeah, to free up some time.
Well, just like last night, my wife was just kind of on the edge of losing it. Just raising kids is hard, and so here we are, the two of us sitting side by side, guarding the doorway, waiting for this 2-year-old to wind down at, it was 10 something at night. And she was almost to the point of tears. She's like, I just want a break. I just want some time at night to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Not taking care of me, not taking care of kids, just like by her. And she gets no break. We're in the process of trying to wean her too. You talk about trying. That's really hard to do.
I wonder if Megan Fox can do that too.
Maybe.
Just kidding. I don't know. That would have been the perfect time to break out the Megan Fox doll and say, "Don't worry, honey. Megan Fox has got this covered."
Yeah. Just rolling out of the closet and stuff like that. And so I don't know. This to me. This is the part that just makes NFP and or let's say the Christopher West model really, really impractical. To the point where I think it's so difficult, it's nearly impossible to do without cutting corners somewhere, or you're just a complete miserable bear.
And you just, went on one heck of a streak.
Yeah.
But you're right though, like days 5 to 10. It's it's a difficult task.
So yeah,
I'm surprised that it's that difficult for you this time. Like as far as
no, it hasn't. I mean,
okay.
I don't want to exaggerate it. It's just that part isn't. It's the hard part. What makes it difficult is this is the infertile time. This is when we can do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yet we're not able to. So 5 days during the infertile time is way worse than 5 days during the fertile time when you can't do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Then you're just trying to manage your body.
Mm-hmm.
But here it's just like it's triple whammy. Because now this is our time. This is our brief time to do something. And we literally, I mean, barring like, I don't know, hiring a sitter and going to a hotel somewhere, it's just not practical. And for her, the mental gymnastics of like getting that all ready and
that's not worth it.
The mother's mind just.
How long has this phase been going on? Because everything's
6 months. 6 months.
6 months is a fair.
We're kind of wearing down here. So although we did. So we're planning a trip to Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost exactly a month from now.
Wow.
And so she's trying to wean. You can imagine what this child is like when it comes to weaning.
So she probably climbs right up there and
She does. She goes up and basically rips her clothes off to get at it, or just relentless, just over and over until and so so in my wife has never been of the mind that you just cut them off and let them cry it out. She just, that's not the way she operates, and I'm not here to say she's wrong about that.
She's fine doing it too, though.
Yeah. I'm a bigger baby. I can handle myself, I guess. But so we're trying to get ready for this trip, and this will be literally the first time we've been away without any kids since we had our first kid 20 years ago.
And you're not taking the 2-year-old.
So the other day I said, well, we should probably get our plane tickets.
Oh.
So I'm getting our plane tickets. I'm like, well, I tell you what, I'll get a lap ticket for her. If we have to bring her, fine. If not, no biggie. It doesn't cost you anything. That only counts if they're under 2. She's over 2. I'm like,
2 and how many months?
2.5.
Oh, so yeah, too big to. I suppose you got to take the birth certificate or.
Well, you got to register online how old they are, and I don't know. I'm not interested in.
Yeah, lying.
Committed some felony.
That's true. It probably would be, I suppose, air travel.
Yeah. So I'm not. That's. There is a limit to things that I'll do to make things happen with mine, right? So far, committing felonies is just not. Ask me in another week or so, maybe I'll have a different mind about that.
So but you have to buy her a ticket then.
Well,
which would be pretty wild with how much she likes to climb on things.
I said, and the tickets to go to Arizona are not super cheap, and it was going to be $500
a person.
Mm-hmm. And then she's like, oh, sorry, I guess you're staying home. So then, if it had been a $200 ticket, she probably would have made me buy it. But $500, she's like, well, I guess we have to figure out how to cut her off. So, yeah, she may just decide to stay home, and I go down by myself, and that'd be kind of.
Why?
The only reason I know she's going to go is because we're going to meet up with our oldest son, who's in the Marines.
Oh, so that's good.
I got
some.
There's incentive there that isn't me.
Boy, that's probably true. I could see my wife backing out too. Except,
she's not going to miss that opportunity.
Yeah. So
I mean,
so you're locked in then.
We're committed. I got the tickets, and we're going without the kids. So,
wow.
And even the NFP projections look okay. So we'll see.
It's just like the weather.
It is. You get within 2 months, you're like, okay, what if it's a 28-day cycle? What if it's 29-day cycle? That's the kind of math you have to do as Catholics. Yeah. Isn't it fun? Isn't this fun? They don't tell you about this in the pre-Cana classes.
Just let it rip.
Yeah.
Just take your chances.
No. I've seen enough to not want to do that anymore.
You've learned your lesson.
Yeah, it's bad enough that it can tame me. Like, I'm just like, no, we've done enough of this. I'll go on another strike if I have to.
It's an impressive streak.
So, yeah, so it's just, and I know it is a season. Like, it's got to end eventually, right? Like eventually she has to stop being like this. I've seen it happen 8 times before, so I have to think this will end too. But it sure seems like it doesn't seem like there's any end in sight. But 6 months of this is like it literally, this is the constant X factor in our personal relationship, is this little lovely, beautiful child that just wow.
Yeah, I mean, it is a season. Some seasons are longer than others, though, it seems like.
Yeah, the day seems to go by slow, almost as slow as the celibate period. I tell you, you talk about slowing down time.
You think it does?
You can feel the seconds.
Really?
Man,
so you're closer to eternity then.
Man, it went slow. I was like, holy cow, this is...
Is that good or bad? Like, do you think you get more things accomplished? Or do you just like dwell in your misery more?
I think it's just dwelling on the misery. It's kind of like, does the night go by faster if you're sleeping or sitting there wide awake?
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
wide awake.
I will take night going like that and get our night's sleep.
That's great. You didn't have sleep issues, though.
Yeah, it didn't stop me from going to sleep. I don't know. I had some restless sleep. I would wake up, not really with like just a obvious sensation, but just kind of a overall feeling of being, I don't know,
uncomfortable,
not right. Yeah. And so, whatever. I mean,
it's the concupiscence burning.
Yeah, it was manageable, but it's not a life. It's like, this is not a life solution. I mean, I think there are people, I know there are people that are in that, whether they like it or not, they're in. And
it's like Joey Chestnut, the guy can eat like 70 hot dogs, sometimes, but you can't do it every day.
Right. Yeah, that's just it. So I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to be the patient soldier as best I can, but it's, there's difficulties in both approaches, but I still prefer to have kind of a normal life with my wife, even under arduous circumstances. But it's not. And I know some will say, "Oh, you're never supposed to get too comfortable." Well, fine, mission accomplished. Because you never reach a point where you can just.
Well, yeah, but they don't really treat the other aspects of their lives like that. Like, should you be fluctuating jobs constantly, or like moving constantly, or like you can get quite comfortable if you stay in one area your whole life.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's exactly.
Or should you not go to the grocery store every week just for the hell of it?
The example I use is this. Like, imagine if you just said, instead of going to the gym 3 times a week all month long, I'm just going to take 3 weeks off, and then I'm going to work out twice a day, every day for a week. Like, that's not. Yeah, like that's not those are not the same things.
Yeah.
One is going to get you hurt.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is actually going to, improve your life, right? And I think it's the same thing with this. It's like, it doesn't need to be an everyday event, but something between every day and never. Right? Is that too much to ask for? With a certain with more of a level of control over it. And I think that, to me, that continues to be the hardest part about NFP for me. Is, like it or not, it's some intimacy is far more important to me. I'm more acutely aware of it than my wife is. And it's like you said, you ask men and women to list things in a priority list. This is going to be near the top for most men, and it's going to be way down there for most women.
After folding the laundry.
Yeah.
Like, I mean.
Yeah. That's and yet it's something that it's by and large outside my control.
Especially once you have kids.
Once you have kids, then it's just like.
Yeah. If you have 8 or more.
You have small kids in general, but I don't know. I don't know what it's like to not have kids under 3 years old. So
yeah, I don't know. It's a phase, man. It'll be over someday.
Yeah. I'm holding out hope that menopause will be better, but
it's the great.
I've seen enough reality to be real skeptical.
Yeah,
that's going to happen, but
you never know. Maybe you'll hit the jackpot.
Hope springs eternal.
It's good, man.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm again, we're in a much better place than we have been in the past. We experienced some enormous growth during that, but at the end of the day, you still got to deal with the circumstances of your life. And right now, has it been? It's maybe been longer than 6 months. I don't know. It's been a long time.
Sounds like a good time for more growth then. I'm just kidding. I know it was difficult.
It was it's probably one of the most difficult things I've done. I know that sounds so stupid to people.
Trying to tame the stallion here. I mean, it's just
I just
want to run wild.
In the way I when I try and self-reflect, I think of all the other hard stuff I do regularly without question. In the gym, out of the gym, whatever. Like, if my wife needed me to drive to South Dakota tomorrow to do something for her, I could do that. It would be hard. It would not be as hard.
Yep.
As this.
And like I said too, for myself, when I went, 48 hours without eating, that was a lot easier than going a week without intimacy.
Right.
I mean,
right.
I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah. I mean, it does. To me, this whole very uncomfortable relationship that the church and the church fathers and theologians have had historically and even to this day with the whole sexual appetite. I mean, it is a mammoth force in our lives, right? Like it is,
especially that day 5 to 10.
Yeah,
like you said,
right?
I
mean, think of the things that
it's nearly undefeated.
Nearly. Think of the things that men will do, like the irrational things that men will do to satisfy this part of their life.
Yeah.
And that's a constant throughout history.
Yeah.
Right. It's and I'm sure it's something that men have feared. I mean, so I think it's very easy to chalk that up to some supernatural force, negative supernatural force, because it is such a powerful force that it can't just be natural. Like it's got to be something evil or concupiscence or whatever you want to call it. And maybe it is, but it could also just be, it's just such a natural, powerful force that we just feel, I don't know. I think, like I said, I feel very distressed because it's something that I can't control. And men don't like to not feel in control. We don't like to, not be able to control our outcome. And
St. Paul said marriage is the antidote. But that was coming from a single guy, I think, at that time, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, and even then, he wasn't like, "Hey, yeah, everyone go out and get married." He's like, "Have you got to go ahead and get married?"
Then you can only have sex between days 20 and 28, and whatever.
Yeah,
whatever your schedule.
Yeah, it was just a break glass in case of emergency situation.
Yeah,
and I don't know, maybe it is, but
I don't know. It's something that I don't understand.
And honestly, I don't think that. I doubt that contraception is the cure all for all that. I mean,
oh, for sure,
it would solve some problems,
create its own.
Right. So, I've never, as frustrated as I've been about NFP, I've never been, man, I wish we could use contraception. Because I see,
there's pitfalls there.
It really, I think, for a long time, we avoided, or I avoided, dealing with some really important unresolved issues in our relationship, in part because intimacy, even when it's somewhat infrequent, just really kind of masks a lot of that. And I would think, contraception just, puts less barriers between you and intimacy. And I think it can be even easier in that situation to have these unresolved issues go on
Mhm.
for until just everything blows up and it can't be fixed again.
Yeah.
So I don't think that is the solution. Like, I sympathize with people that feel like NFP is just so impractical for them that they have to do that. Um, I mean, we have 9 kids even trying to use NFP. Like, if we literally had to have only 4 or 5 kids, I don't know how we would have done it. I'd have been on the hunger strike a long time ago, I guess. I don't know.
Better she would have been.
Yeah. So, but I don't know that that's the answer. I mean, I think a lot of it does come down to what is the quality of your relationship. I mean,
Mhm.
the more and more I see, the more I think it has less to do with your method or even how many kids you have, but is your relationship good, and how are you personally, in terms of being a holistic person and having good habits and not having too many bad habits. I think it really comes down to that. And then
Mhm.
your intimate life, the quality of your intimate life is sort of a reflection of that more than anything else. I think it's a
Yeah.
symptom
Mhm.
of the quality of your relationship
That's
rather.
true.
So
I think you're right on there.
so anyway, that's all I got.
All right. I do have one funny story to share.
Okay.
So the other night we were sitting at the separate table, and all of a sudden one of the kids asked, "So how are babies made?"
Oh,
And
that's random.
yeah, that was our 10-year-old son,
Hmm.
and our
You guys
12
have to draw straws over who had to
no,
explain that one.
so our 12-year-old son, he had taken some science class, and he stepped up to the plate and he talked about sperm and the egg and Y chromosome and X chromosome. He didn't get into the mechanics of it, and I don't think they went over that yet, but we were going to talk to him about it soon. And our middle son says, "Well, yeah, but how does it really happen?"
Oh,
And so he's still
inquiring minds want to know.
yeah. And so then my wife, Dolores, she gets into talks about like flowers and pollen and eggs, and they're then still unsatisfied. He's like, "Yeah, but how does it really happen? With people?" And our youngest son, you can just see the light bulb go off, and he goes,
Oh.
"You put them together, you make a penis vagina." And then the other kids are like,
Oh.
"Oh, that was great dinner time conversation." They're still talking about like, what is sperm? I'm they're talking about sperm all the time now.
So I can expect my kids to come home asking what.
We told them they can't talk about it at school.
That's easily enforced, right? I know how that goes.
Yeah. But so I don't know. It's pretty cute though. But yeah, our youngest son, he's pretty sharp. You just see the light bulb go off.
I'm trying to remember how old I was when I figured it out.
We had
I think my cousins are I think I had a cousin that explained it to me. Like,
with a magazine.
no. I think he did. And I was like, oh, that makes a lot. That explains a lot, right? I was like,
Yeah.
why? Like, how do people decide when they want to have kids? Like, that was the part of it is like,
Yeah.
like how does it not just randomly happen?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I was like, oh, okay, I now I get it.
Yep.
So anyway,
Yeah. I think we had a night at the school where a doctor that came and gave a presentation on how it all works.
mm-hmm. Was it good information?
I remember it being entertaining. And he talked about condoms, which the nuns did not appreciate at the time, and they told him that.
Oh wow.
So, yeah.
Huh.
Yep.
Interesting. Well, I'm due for the next batch of that conversation. I've got the 4 oldest kids.
Was that uncomfortable having that conversation?
Yeah, it is.
Any funny questions or anything like that?
No.
Generally just silence, shock silence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your wife doesn't take over the talk?
No, it was just me and the kids.
She doesn't want to be a part of that.
Well, it was sort of a moment of desperation because it was one of these times where the housing situation was like, um, where the kids' rooms were at. Like, I think we had not borderline teenage boys on the same floor, and my wife's like, I'm not doing anything until they're asleep. So we're gonna go. Teenage boys just don't want to go to sleep at a decent time. So you're sitting there, you know what? You should really fall asleep. And the kids are like, why do you always want us to fall asleep? And so I'm finally like, we're gonna go for a drive, and I was like, I'm gonna explain to you. Because I was really sick of this, dance routine that I was doing between my wife and these kids, and didn't change anything. My wife's like, oh, fine, they know, but still not changing the fact that. So once we got the older kids in the basement, there was a floor between us. She
was fine with that.
Felt okay with that. I don't know. This is the one thing.
Cheaper to soundproof the room, maybe, or easier.
Get another house. I don't know. It's just, I love my wife, but this part of it, I'm like, they know what happens. She's like, I know, but they don't need to know when it's happening. I'm like, I just have not been able to get on the same page with her about that because it's just like, but it's just, it's just uncomfortable for her. And I don't think her parents had the best relationships. And so, yeah. But it is what it is. So, yeah, that's how it came about. I was like, all right, enough of this.
Mm-hmm. I have made that point clear to our oldest son, too, just how important it is for, mom and dad to have time together.
Well, your guys' rooms are in the same
floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. Like, my wife isn't.
You're not super loud.
She's not concerned about it. I mean,
oh, okay.
She's not.
Oh, interesting. You got that going for you.
Well, yeah, she just turns on the radio or whatever, but she's not real scrupulous about it.
Oh, my wife is super paranoid about that. Just like, so.
She usually, but I mean, there's times where we put on a movie, during the day, and
yeah. That I cannot relate to that at all. Like that just doesn't work for us.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, enough crying in my beer. All right.
Till next time.
Yeah. We'll see. See what next week brings.
Hold strong. You got this. Just bust through the day 10 wall.
Yeah. Fortunately, I mean, we got a couple days left. And then a new cycle starts. You got the off period, and then a
couple of rain days in there.
Yeah, then we go into the real desert again. So really looking forward to that.
Right in time for Christmas.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Won't be celebrating in your
That's okay. That's okay. The kids will be, our daughter will be home from college, and just life's crazy, and so it's actually a well timed desert period because she's just going to be so frazzled.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I understand.
All right.
All right, man.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Jonah. And until next time, everyone.
Bye.
Have a